Done. Holy moly. It's a good morning, actually. I got my email of awesomeness out. I got some exercise done. I just got to walk the dog, but it's just miserable weather, so I thought I'd get the exercise out of the way first and then take her out for a walk. This is my burn and learn. Woo woo. This is my pathetic attempt at exercise. I try to do just about every day now. Take the odd day off now and again. And when I'm filming, there's no freaking way I'm exercising at 2 o'clock in the morning, so I don't do it then. But the whole point is to try to get myself, alive and fit long enough to enjoy my retirement years with my fabulous son and my brilliant, amazing, beautiful wife, Jane, and our coterie of pets, which I'm not as keen on. That being, of course, Huzzah, the Wonder Mutt Princess. And the mystery gecko, Casper. Hello, everyone. Howdy, Ben. Howdy, Sky. Howdy, Ivan. Ivan, you're here all the time to sleep. Ivan, you got to do some sleeping. Sophie, how are you? I'm trying to do this all from my phone today, so it's going to be a little less slick. Do we say it? It's certainly slick. I'm sweaty as all hell. Salut, coffee. You want to see a cute coffee? Check this out. So this is the before. See something in there? And then I go and have a sip. There's a little alien in there. Yep, that's how I roll. Nerdy to the core. That's me. All right, let me have a seat. See what's going on here. Okay, so let's talk burn and learn. Man, I listened to this hacking stuff. All right, I should take these off. These are off, so there should be no difference to the sound now. So don't think it goes horribly wrong. Let me know. Hello from the UK, Adam. Hello, was it Mamyak? Odessa, Ukraine. My heart goes out to you. Let's hope we're close to some peace there, my friend. And by peace, I mean not giving it all away to that Putin guy. Humming Fraggle Rock since last night, Joan. I'm so sorry. My God, we did that indeed, didn't we? We had a kind of a fun Damn Dirty Abe's yesterday with Lance Gimpy G. Carr. And it's always fun. It's always fun talking to him. He's such a crazy guy. I love him. And I really hope he may have some sponsorship now, which would be really cool. Allow him to do some more stuff certainly that I can help him with anyways. I have hard enough time helping myself. Could do with some of that. Almost 4 a.m. here. Andrew Michael Goss, what the heck? Come on, get some sleep. 4 a.m. I have enough of physics for the first time in my life. Really? Sophie, you're done? Really? I guess, I suppose there's a time and a place for physics, and that's everywhere all the time, right? Okay, so the burn and learn. 30 minutes again, a little bit over 30 again. What did I do? I did my 6.5 clicks, 6.5 kilometers, that is. And I am looking at, listening to this podcast, this hacked podcast. And I'm also listening to a podcast called... Hacking Humans, maybe, is that what it's called? Anyways, I've terrified myself. Basically, it's like the Halloween horror story, campsite horror story for nerds. And this one is brutal. Get this, not to give anyone any ideas. Get this for a hack that they reported on. So, sales guy, he gets he obviously gets a lot of phone calls. He gets a WhatsApp or a Zoom or one of these video calls while he's in the car. There's someone talks to him in another language for a while. He doesn't know what they're saying. And then they hang up and then he gets a ransom note basically saying that they have footage of him misbehaving, pleasuring himself, as they say. And that they're going to send it to all of his friends. And here's a list of all of his friends. So they've got a list of friends and family and school and stuff. And he's like, go ahead. You don't have anything. Like, I know you don't have what you say you have. And so they prove it to him. What they've done is while he was on that Zoom, they recorded him. They recorded his webcam while they were randomly calling people. And then they took that video and they ran it through an AI video generator and made him naked and playing with himself, basically, was the thing. And then they threatened to send that to all of his friends, family, and all that kind of stuff. And I just went, wow. Now I know that's the kind of thing. That's the kind of thing that obviously the kind of news story that newspapers love or news companies love, because of course it strikes terror into the hearts of everyone and they want to share it and talk about it and stuff. But I was just like, wow, there's a plus and a minus to this. You're like, there's a plus. The minus obviously being is that people are going to be vulnerable to this in a huge way. I mean, I suppose you could, one of the suggestions they had was, when you receive a call, you don't know who it's from, you don't have your camera on to start. That seems pretty smart. Anyways, I'm not sure I would think to do that, but certainly a smart thing to do. But even that's not going to solve the problem, because if anyone's on social media at all, has any video of them, or even has shots of their rooms or their offices or whatever, I'm sure you could probably mimic this stuff. Anyways, so basically everyone is going to be vulnerable to this kind of thing. And then on the plus side, what's real? I mean, basically deniability. You can deny absolutely everything. I mean, you see the president doing it now with all of the Epstein stuff, right? I mean, I never wrote that picture. I never wrote that poem and drew that picture. What are you kidding? That's made up, and that's not my signature. It's someone else's signature. I mean, that deniability used to be sort of laughable, still is in some circles, I suppose. But the fact that the video is now so good that it can do that. A friend of mine, Aaron Rabinovich, did I haven't sat down and listened to the whole thing, but did a TED Talk. Except he didn't do a TED Talk. He used AI to create a TED Talk of him doing a TED Talk. And, certainly at a cursory look at it, it looks completely legit. I just assumed he was doing a TED Talk. He's a smart guy. He does a lot of cool stuff. And that must be I just figured he was actually doing a TED Talk. But no, his point was, look, you can generate this stuff. And that is, I mean, again, both remarkable and terrifying. Remarkable in that, this could allow storytelling in a way that just would be impossible to do otherwise. I mean, you could have young filmmakers hopefully not have AI write them, hopefully, write scripts and be able to stage things potentially in a room. Imagine I take this video and I have a nice chat about something, and then I want a little clip of it. So I take that clip and I put it in them. And while I'm talking to you, whatever relates to what I'm talking about happens in the background. Maybe there's behind me, there's people hacking or God knows what else. You could be in a cyber security center. You could be, in a plane, you could be wherever you want. I mean, already that stuff is sort of available, but this just makes it incredibly, accessible to everyone for all of the right and all the wrong reasons as well, right? So as always, the technology, there's a double-edged sword to it. But I heard that and I was like, oh my God, we're all doomed. I mean, there's just going to be a million fake videos of people, masturbating or whatever, that are in a feeble attempt by people to try to grab a few bucks here or there, because it only takes one or two people to sort of go. And whatever, I'll pay $500 or whatever to get rid of that. That's the kind of thing that they're counting on. I mean, it's the same thing that's happened with ransomware as well, right? Where it's just they're hoping that the companies just go look, it's cheaper just to pay a few tens of thousands of dollars rather than spend millions of dollars in press releases and all this kind of stuff. And so just an interesting article that kind of chilled me to the bone. I've always been a bit paranoid about the fact that there is a camera on these things, that there is audio. We're walking around with film studios in our pocket, or spy centers in our pocket. So I think it's just something that's certainly worth considering. Anyways, I mean, that was the one that really stood out to me as a crazy, smart and also terrifying use of these technologies. I'm absolutely fascinated by this stuff. Which reminds me, I've got to talk to Agnes. I saw her short film the other day. It's really fun. I'm looking forward to seeing what else they do with it, but which also deals with some hacking and stuff and fake information and stuff. So as soon as that's out and about, I'll let you know about it so you can have a look. It's fascinating. So I'm sort of fascinated by that. So I have a bunch of these podcasts that I love listening to, all about the cybersecurity side of stuff. And my friend James Muto, who runs a cybersecurity company, has been very kind and got me an old server for me to play with, so I can do some home lab hacking and stuff. God, I love it. I suck at it because I can never remember what I've done, what I haven't done, and I leave it for a few days or a week or so, and I come back and I go, I don't remember what I've done. And with all the hard drives and mounting and all that kind of stuff, I love it though. My God, it's fun. And you know what else I love? That my email of awesomeness is out. It's out. Woohoo! I got another email of awesome out. So go. What is the best way of doing this? Because I guess I've got to figure out a way of letting people get the latest one. Anyways, get yourself over to techbandits.org, sign up for my free email of awesomeness, and you shall get into my brain, and I shall tell you the wonderful things that I find interesting and stuff. So today I talked about tomorrow's I'm with Stargate Genius, which is amazing, with Thomas from the Plato mission. So Plato is this fabulous, 26 telescoped beast of a satellite that'll be going up, I think, next year, and is going to be looking for Earth-like planets. And we're going to talk to Thomas about that tomorrow. I think that's at 1:00, I think it is. But I'm sure I will post something about it later. I can't remember what I put in the newsletter. I think I put 1 p.m., but knowing me, I probably got it wrong. So anyways, really looking forward to talking to Thomas about that, because I saw Plato, not in action, but in action, in that it was getting tested, and they were doing the final look over and run through of stuff while I was there at ESA Aztec. And it's just, well, man, it's cool. It's just so cool. And the people there, oh my God, it's just, I want to live there. I'm so jealous because Agne is doing a little I'm with Genius snacks. So she's inviting back the people that we spoke to in the past or have spoken to in the past, and just have some snacks and say hi and catch up and stuff. And I'm just like, I want to be in the Netherlands, even if they're going to be, I think they're going to age gate the internet or something as well. They're talking about age gating social media there as well, which is kind of interesting. Why did Atlantis get canceled? So they could start a new one now, 21 years later. That's why, sure. Let me just tell you this. Atlantis did not get canceled because of me. Just in case you're thinking it's McKay's fault. It's not McKay's fault. I only destroyed 3/4 of the writer's room. I'm headed up there today. I'm worried about Shasta Pass. Oh, really? Shasta Pass. That's I feel like I've been through Shasta Pass. As an owner of 200 Daleks, it caught my attention. Oh, fantastic! You have 200 Daleks, or as I would say, Daleks. Daleks has become Darleks. So I basically sort of Americanized it by going Darleks, and everyone goes, there's no R. You blow too many planets that way. That's why, it got canceled. They couldn't afford all the solar systems that I kept taking out. Yes, they are making a new one. Indeed, I don't know what they're doing, and I'm not involved in any way, certainly at this point. But the wonderful, fabulously talented Martin Garrow is running a new MGM Prime series that I believe they've started working on now. So yeah, your wait is over. There is new Stargate coming. I don't know what form it is, other than they said that it is going to take place in the same universe. So I'm really excited about that, because it means, I don't know, maybe a sweaty old McKay could show up. That could just be, they could just do like a shot of whatever the new facility is for all the sexy young new people, and in the background there could be like a gym, and I'll be on the treadmill or the elliptical or something, just sweating away, singing loudly to songs, that kind of thing. You could write out your ideas for stories and share them. Oh, yeah, I read it. Now, if I was running Stargate, here's what I'd do. I'd call it Stargate McKay, The Great Adventure. Stop rambling about anything that tries to keep your podcast going. Sounds like you're on something. Stop rambling about anything that tries to keep your podcast going. Sounds like you're on. So what does that mean? I do want the podcast to keep going, though. That's the thing, right? Like, I love these science chats. Like, it's absolutely the best. Yeah. Okay. The AI McKay from Future Atlantis. Well, that'll be interesting. I wonder if they'll touch on that kind of stuff, because there's been a bunch of things since Stargate, including my son growing up and going to university. But like, they never talked about cryptocurrencies in Stargate. That's come and gone, or NFTs or whatever. And we've never talked about AI. So of course AI wasn't really something that, that they could experiment with. So I'm sort of curious to see what they do. There was never a lot of AI. I guess there was AI, wasn't there? There was AI, but I don't think it was like sort of front and foremost like it is for the world right now. So should be the head of the stuff. What should I be? I should be the head of something. Should be the head of the science department. Confuzzed. I like that. Still about how Asgard tech works. Yeah, I'd still be a little bit confused about stuff. But luckily I'd have my little lab assistant, Zelenka there to get me coffee and stuff. So, you should be part of Stargate, that's for sure. So should Joe Flanagan. Jeff, that's very sweet of you. I'd love to be. Yeah, I think I've been asked this question so many times, like, would I come back if I could? And absolutely. McKay's like one of my favorite characters of all time. He really is just so much fun to play. And there's so few characters that come up that allow you to sort of spread your wings like that. I mean, since Stargate, I mean, C was one. It was a really fun one again. I really enjoy Mistletoe Murders. I got to say, if anyone wants some sort of wonderful Angela Lansbury style stuff, it's I've got a really fun character on that. Famous Ray, tell him Famous Ray sent you. God, I'm so sweaty. It's like I'm steaming up my glasses. Have you thought about writing your Atlantis memoirs? I don't know they'd be that exciting, would they? I mean, these are my memoirs, basically. I'm not, the writing is so much work. I like this video thing. It works so much better. Hello, little aliens. Little aliens still there. It would be interesting to see how they make the how they could bring characters back and see what happens. Rap, I could rap. Quiet one. Yeah, good point. Can we argue the replicators? Oh my God. Well, the replicators are AI. Yes, I think you could argue that to some extent. Not even to some extent. I mean, that's basically it, isn't it? I always loved the replicators. I love that idea, because it's the self-replicating robots, right? I mean, that's what we're playing with. Have you seen there's some footage? Okay, that's a Chinese humanoid robotic factory I saw some footage of the other day that I thought was fake. Like it was an army of robots, literally lined up like something out of the iRobot movie, not the good book series, the bad movie, and lined up like that. And I thought, oh, this is fake. There's no way they've got that many robots. And apparently, I just saw a thing that says everyone thought exactly the same thing. Well, it turns out no. There are actually hundreds and hundreds of these robots lined up and all working in unison, and it's a bit terrifying. When you have people like Elon Musk talking about his robot army, it takes on all. I mean, I've always joked about having a robot army. But I mean, when Elon Musk does it, he's got to be careful because he has a robot army, like he really does. There's that horrible scene in God, what was it? It was this. It was fascinating. It was it Julia Roberts? A Julia Roberts sci-fi movie. Like How Do We Get Here? Something like that. I can't remember. Where basically it's a family. There's a weird kind of a technological apocalypse and everything shuts down and the world's basically ending and they're at an Airbnb and they have to share it with a couple, and there's a whole thing about racism and elitism and the different stratas of society and what happens when when the rules of society fall apart. And it was there was this terrifying scene. I don't know what it was called. I know there's someone in the chat who will know what it's called. Let's see if we've got it here. I'm going to scroll all the way down because I guarantee you somebody will know what I'm talking about. So the whole point being that because everything's going wrong, the technology's all is malfunctioning. And the one that really got me were these Teslas that were all racing towards each other and just slamming into the back of each other. There was like somewhere in the programming, the idea was that there was this point on the map where all the Teslas go to die, basically. There was a story I read ages ago when they first started releasing drones, like commercial drones, like for consumer drones, basically. And that when if they lost all of their information, they would go to 000. So there's all these drones heading off in a similar direction when they go wrong. Now, of course, none of them would last long enough to get to that place. But I just sort of love this image of something going wrong and all of these autonomous vehicles being reset and driving to a point on the map and just sort of slamming into each other. Leave the World Behind. That is the movie. I think I'm not making a recommendation. I think it's called Leave the World Behind. I think you're right. Look, I had problems with it. I don't think it was a perfect movie, but my God, it was fun. It was really fun. I love that kind of speculative science fiction. It's that's why I like Isaac Arthur so much. I mean, he's looking at the science angle on fiction, basically. Sorry, he's looking at sort of a futurist approach to existing science. So it becomes speculative science fiction. It becomes the type of science fiction, but really it's just logically looking at what potential futures are for things. Pontes Han say, but you didn't know that I streamed before? Well, don't meet your heroes, because this is obviously the kind of disappointment you get. You get old, you get sweaty, and whiny. That's basically what I do here. This is because I hate exercise. I hate exercise so much that I have to sort of trick myself into doing it. So my little dopamine hit at the end of 30 minutes on the torture device is that I get to go on the interwebs and be a little and have my little kingdom and talk to everyone about what I have on my mind and what I've been learning about. And what I've been learning is that really smart people are really good at scamming, and that I wish they'd only use their powers for good. Wouldn't it be great? It's funny. There was one of the things that came up in the Technological Republic book, which I can't say I did a lot of agreeing with, but I was very, very interested in the points that he made. This is the guy who runs Palantir. Was saying that maybe we should have. I think he was saying we should bring back the draft, but I don't like the sound of that. But he was saying that there should be something like what they do in Israel, where you've got a couple of years, but it would be like in the Peace Corps. So instead of going to join the military, maybe you could do 2 years of sort of government service as part of your education. I'm not a big fan of the government making people do things, but at the same time, I think it would be interesting to get everyone. It would be amazing to get everyone into some kind of public service. I mean, if you're going to, but in that case, I would say, why don't we do this? Why don't we pay for their education? Why don't we pay for their healthcare? Why don't we pay for, why don't we make affordable housing and stuff? And then they can help support that by doing a couple of years of Peace Corps work for the country, in the country, around the country, that helps the country. I think that's an interesting way to do it, maybe instead of a military thing. That book was straight up fascist economic theory. I'm so glad you didn't agree with most of it. Well, I mean, that's it. I definitely, I don't know that I would call it fascist. I'm not sure I'd go as far as that. I think it was, and Elizabeth, the reason why I say that is because I feel like like everything just goes straight to that now. I feel like it's straight to fascists and talking about Hitler and while I think there are definitely some things that relate to that, I worry that if everything is that extreme, this was a book where I think I felt like he was trying to make excuses for what he was doing in his company. Like, his company does some pretty questionable stuff with face recognition and definitely looks like it seems to trample on a lot of rights, and the technology may not even be as effective. In fact, it may even be not even as effective as he wants it to be. In fact, it could be, false positives and all sorts of stuff. And, the idea that I've always held, that it would be better to have, 5 guilty men go free, that one honest person goes to jail type thing. I've always been sort of a believer in that. I feel like it's, I think I'd rather that than having, 5 honest men trying to catch one bad guy. So definitely don't agree with him on that kind of stuff. But his point was that where was I going? Where was I going with this? God damn it! This is what happens when you exercise and don't eat enough, and you don't drink enough coffee. That's it. Someone put me back on track. What was I saying? About Technological Republic? Yes. Volunteering. Yeah. So the idea that basically that people should be giving back to the country somehow. I would say the country should give back to us as well. But I wouldn't say that his stuff was so much fascist as it was him trying to come up with a reason why what he does is the right thing for himself and the country. And my concern is that I think he would like to reverse that, and I think he'd like to say, like, well, you know what I mean? We get it right 70% of the time. So what? 30% of the population goes to jail when they don't deserve it. That's what I don't agree with. I guess that's that's the kind of thing where the sort of references to fascism stuff come in. I guess my concern with going so extreme with that stuff is I think it puts people off for normal discourse, right? I mean, I know, you want to call it what it is type thing, but at the same time, I feel like while we're so polarized like that, I worry that we're not able to sort of discuss this stuff and maybe not necessarily convince people, but at least sort of show them that there is another reasonable side to this. So, That's not a criticism of you, Elizabeth. That's just my own. That's my own. Just my own thing. Just recently, just the number of things I've been reading that have a lot of this kind of, you know, some fascists and links to Hitler and all that kind of stuff. Which I'm saying again, I think will apply to certain things. I just don't want it applied to everything because I worry that it's gonna. Sort of sour the conversation, shall we say? Anyway, so the point being is that this guy's got loves the technology, thinks it's amazing, and feels that we as a society should not get in the way of that development. Obviously, he wants government contracts. So of course that's what he thinks. Of course that's the way he feels. He does raise some really interesting points about how do we consider this country that we live in? How do we consider America? What is it to be an American? Now I'm British, Canadian, and American. So, I chose to be an American. I didn't just get born there. I chose and worked to become an American. And, so I feel quite strongly that I would like this to work, right. Well, apologies, Elizabeth. I didn't mean to do that. I would just, it's one of those things recently. I just feel like there's so maybe that isn't what you meant, but the tone of these conversations now, I just worry so much that we can't. It always ends up with these wild accusations on either side, some of which may be valid. I don't want to say that about every single article. So that's what I was worried about, Elizabeth. No offense meant by any means. Elizabeth and I have talked before and have had some pretty good discussions about this stuff. So, it's not a tone you should be able to analyze something and say capitalist, socialist, fascist, and that's what it is. I agree. But my concern is that I think that, not everyone has the same sort of insights and understanding of what those are. To me, it's like in America, if you say socialist, a lot of people immediately jump to communism. And that's just this. It's misguided. It's wrong. They're different. They're different forms of government. So yeah, that's all my concern on that. Interesting. You've been in some movies that raise the question of using technology for the sake of progressing technology, and if we don't do it first, others will. Absolutely. I think that's a huge part of science fiction, right? Science fiction, the military comes into play in so much of the science fiction that we see. Look at all the corporate intrigue around any of Ridley Scott's stuff. Like, look at the corporate intrigue around androids in Blade Runner, one of my favorite movies of all time. And, the same thing with Alien. And he seems sort of obsessed with it because it's also in the Alien Earth and all that kind of stuff. But the idea that there are, and it sort of makes sense as we go forward that it's not, it's a society that's not being run by governments as much as it's being run by corporations. And I think that's, while I would see that as a warning sign in science fiction, some people go like, "Oh, what a great idea! We should have corporations running all this stuff." So that's, I think that's a big part of it. Yeah, it is fascinating. And science fiction, again, that's the whole point, right? The whole point of science fiction is to look ahead and go like, well, like, where are we going with this stuff? Like, what does it mean? There's that I think it was a Jurassic Park reference from Goldblum that talks about, they don't ask, if they should, they just ask if it can be done. They want to see if it can be done, not if it should be done. Basically, that's a sort of a scientific approach. I don't really want Momoa back. What? If they have aliens, I want someone new. I would. You don't want Jason? I would want Jason. Are you kidding? I want Ronan back. I want to give that guy a big hug. All right. Thanks Star Trek for that type of tech. Look at cell phones, the old communicators with the idea of modern cell phones. Yeah, and we're looking at like life signs indicators, all that kind of stuff. Star Trek. I've always loved Star Trek because of that. Star Trek was always much more speculative fiction, and I also loved the way they were trying to play with the government systems as well. Like, how does the world work when you live in a time of abundance? How do you if everyone can eat and everyone can, then no one needs to work, and what is how do you serve mankind? How do you, how are you a useful part of society if so much of this technology can do this stuff for you? So, oh man, it's great to see you on here, David. Cool, you're doing Q&A and all. Are you kidding? Strangle Peaceful? Strangle Peaceful, there you go. Talking about military. This is I try to do this as often as I possibly can these days, because I find it's a motivator for me to sort of keep up with the exercise. I don't go to the gyms. I don't exercise with people. I don't, I'm not even that keen on eating with people. I'm going to become a total hermit. But so I need exercise that I can do with the minimum amount of friction. And that for me is going into my poor son's bedroom, because my son is at university. So I've turned his room into a gym to such a point that I leave little signs on his door now when he comes home. Like one of them said like room for rent. Which he's like, oh, Dad. And then this time he came back and it just said gym on it. So I've got this erg, as they call it, the elliptical machine in there, and it's horrible. But that's so yeah. But the idea is that basically the least friction as possible, so I get the exercise done, and then this just allows me to enjoy it a bit more. Like I look forward to this part of my workout. I mean, I consider this part of the workout in a way, because it's me taking the thoughts, the learning part of my Burn and Learn, because I'm always, whenever I'm doing it, I used to listen to music, I used to, watch TV and all sorts of stuff. And then I was like, wait a second, this is crazy. What a waste of time. Like I could be learning, I could be, as well as exercising my body, I could be exercising my brain as well. So I wanted something that was going to keep me going. I used to watch tutorials and videos and all that kind of stuff. And now with the rowing machine, it's just sort of difficult while you're sort of like doing this to try to watch anything. That would be quite difficult. So I just listen, and I have a number of just amazing podcasts that I absolutely love. And I think it was Hacking Humans today that I was spending most of the time on, because they have this thing where they just go through the week and they have stories from people about how they've been hacked or how people have attempted to hack them or phish them and all that kind of stuff. So and one of the other things here was the AI, how there was an announcement that the AI had been used to infiltrate a few companies, and that basically the technology, I think it was Anthropic, I believe, but don't quote me on it, that Anthropic had somehow been jailbreaked. So it been basically got rid of the guardrails that are put in to sort of try to keep it safe and tame and legal. Someone had managed to circumvent those and have it come up with possible hacks for companies, most of which didn't work, they said. Most of which didn't work. And the ones that did work were probably quite noisy and probably would have attracted attention. But I guess the point was, and I think that this is where I think we need to be concerned about the AI stuff, because I think there's a tendency to either throw it all out, it doesn't work, the companies are bad and the technology is bad, and people who think that it can do everything from shining your shoes to curing cancer and ridding the world of global warming. I mean, so there's somewhere in between there that needs to be is the reality, and I think that there are different reasons why people want either side. Some are worried about their jobs, other ones are worried about financing and want to get more money involved. So so there's obviously the AI companies are going like, wow, look how good this is. It can actually do the hacking for you with this new agentic programming, which basically agentic means instead of the chatbot sitting on your screen and you work with it there, it can go off and do things on its own. It can run browsers, it can buy things, it can research, it can basically go out on its own autonomously and get you the information or do the things you want it to do. I'm assuming there's got to be a certain amount of guardrails on that too, because that could be a disaster. But so those AI companies are going like, hey, look how good this is. It can come up with new exploits. So you should get our AI so that it can stop all those exploits. Again, money. And there's other people who go like, oh my God, AI, it's hacking people. We got to just stop everything. So I think we got to find a middle ground in there somewhere. I think there's probably an element of both. I think one of the things that really alarms me about AI is just the volume of stuff that's going to come out, right? I mean, the amount of absolute crap that it can spit out will be ridiculous. I mean, I can't remember. I was scrolling. I had to use one of the wretched social media platforms, which is why everyone should go to techbandits.org and sign up for my freaking email of awesomeness, so I can get rid of these stupid social media platforms and just communicate with people like people. And thank you everyone who's already signed up, by the way. It's just kind of nice. Anyway, so I think that's I've done it again. I've thrown myself completely off. I get outraged and then forget what I was talking about before. Oh man, it's great to see you on here, David. Cool, you're doing Q&A and all. That's from behind. Thank you very much. It's very nice. Welcome, by the way. Welcome. Already done and signed up. Oh, thank you, Mark. That's very kind. Top 10 BS spewer. Congrats. Well, that's what AI is, right? I mean, AI is amazing at just spitting out absolute nonsense. And I think that's where I think that's where this stuff is almost important. Almost important. There you go. Damning with faint praise. I think that you could probably have an AI create something. Eventually, you'll have an AI that can probably create something like this that can have generic answers for what I would say based on everything I've said in the past. And there's a lot of talking, I'm sure. But it's still not going to be me. It's still not going to be a connection. It's still not going to be that personal thing. And that's sort of why, in a way, why I've sort of doubled down on these more recently, is because I feel like this is a way to distinguish yourself from this technology. Yeah, I think Elizabeth, that's great. Plastic is a great example. Yeah, it's a bunch of garbage polluting the information ecosystem. Yeah, there's absolutely very valuable uses for plastic, and if it's used well and responsibly, and it's recycled, and there's absolutely a very good medical reasons and all sorts of stuff for plastics to be useful as a technology. The problem is that there's been there's no guardrails on it, right? So they've sort of made it the consumer's responsibility, when reality is that those companies should probably be footing the bill for cleaning this stuff up. But they don't want to, because then things get expensive and then people won't use it. We'll be back to glass bottles again, right? Where was the address to sign up? It is techbandits.org is what you're looking for. AI is a risk, in my opinion, because people trust it too much. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's a really good point. And offload their mental capacity into even less important things. I've noticed that people don't want to think; they want to direct results, fake or no. It's definitely a concern, and it's funny because I will often use. I'm using Perplexity right now. I may change, I don't know, but I'm quite impressed with the Gemini, to be honest. Recently I've really quite liked the Gemini one, but I'll use it to get me started. So I will take a bunch of thoughts that I have in a point form thing, along with a couple of articles that I've read, or maybe I've read just the abstract of a paper or two. I'll put that in, and I'll get it to spit something out. And then it's remarkable because for some reason, just not staring at a blank page, well, not a blank page, I guess, instead of staring at point forms and the way my brain works, doesn't work. Very much doesn't work. So focus is always a big issue for me, as you can probably tell by the fact that I've lost my train of thought like 50 times just talking to you now. But it's amazing that I remember lines, isn't it? That's just extraordinary. How did I remember all those McKay lines? So the fact that you have to focus, that it can focus things for you, is very, very valuable to me. That it can organize my weird collection of thoughts. Now, once I look at what it spat out, I always find it just doesn't sound like me at all. Like I just don't, I feel like, it's a bit like this. You're going to see me. This is me. Like, this is a sweaty, revolting, complaining old man who, that's me. Like, that's just who I am. I don't see any point in trying to pretend to be anything other than that. So my writing, I think, should reflect that as well. And my writing should be, I want it to be the same way that I am. I want it to be sort of a little rambling and a little silly and a little sort of whimsical. And so I end up rewriting everything. I mean, not everything, but I end up rewriting a lot of it. And it doesn't always get everything right. Certainly, even just from the technology standpoint, I wouldn't be surprised if this stuff that maybe I'm being misled by. But I'm lucky because I get to look at things from a very, a 1,000-foot perspective. You know what I mean? I can look down on the stuff in a way that isn't, no one's going no one's going to be trying to figure out how to fix a satellite based on what I've said from a social post or something. So, or from my newsletter. So the idea being that it is a wonderful teacher for me, and it's a wonderful sort of writing assistant, and and I found it extremely valuable. It's also just really fun. I really enjoy making little images and stuff to fill out a newsletter that would not normally, like, I mean, before AI, I'd try to Photoshop one or two things, and I still do that because it's not so much Photoshop anymore. I think I'm trying to using Canva now, because I find again these corporations. I feel like I've sold my soul and large amounts of Stargate money to Adobe to keep all that software on a subscription basis, which drives me mad because I just don't use it that much. So now that there's something like Canva that shows up that can do everything for me in a browser, I'm like, great. I mean, I'm sure there's stuff you can't do that is available in Adobe that you can't do in Canva, but it just doesn't make sense for me to spend that kind of money. Who owns the rights to an AI book collaboration? I don't believe you can copyright AI material. Now, that said, that doesn't mean you can't use it. I'm guessing in writing a book, you could probably have it help you with a book, I'm sure. But I think if you're getting it to write it for you, you're technically, like, my images would not be copyright. I couldn't get mad at someone for using any of the images in my newsletter because they're AI generated, right? I looked at GIMP. I looked at GIMP instead of Photoshop. I just again, I wanted something that was really simple that I could just, because I gone are my days of trying to figure out non-intuitive software. Frankly, I'm just like, I don't have time. I want to make a newsletter. I want to get stories out. I want to talk to people. I want to communicate. I want to be able to do that as simply and as quickly as possible. So I go with those tools now. I used to sort of pride myself on being able to figure out these complex things and be the nerd, the hacker that always knew the answer to things. And now I'm like, wait, you can't know everything. And frankly, I just want to focus on the things that are, I want the tools to be useful. I want them to be simple, and I want them to be useful. I don't want them to have to be a whole other learning path. So, oh, wow, look at my little friend. Look at that. Wow. So I had a mole. They had to take a mole off at the doctor's the other day. I didn't realize it was I got a horn. I got an extra horn. Extra horn? Did I have a horn before? Okay, what else we got? Nar. What I love, AutoCAD hasn't changed in 25 years. Is that a subscription-based thing, though, AutoCAD? And it's also expensive, isn't it, Tim? That was I've got to say, I love Tinkercad, which is AutoCAD as well, and Fusion 360 is wonderful as well. But honestly, Blender. Like, I love Blender. My friend Aaron works for a company. God, I wish I could remember the name of it now. It's an educational, for learning how to use visual effects and editing and graphic design and all sorts of stuff. School of Motion. It's called School of Motion. And I want to have a look and see if they've got something on Blender, because I think it'd be kind of fun to get some of that. Izzy Unas. I don't know what that means. What do we got? It is subscription. It is subscription. There you go. Blender is fabulous. I love Blender. I love Blender. I've spent many a happy hour learning Blender. It is not intuitive in any way, shape, or form, but my God, I love its geeky goodness. It's just a great program to play with. All right, I've been going on for way too long. Might make a Stargate in Blender with Daleks. Oh yeah, bring it on. I think Claude can be paired with Blender, and it'll help you design stuff. Wow. I mean, there was something called what was it called? Meshy. I think it was called Meshy AI. And that allows you to take an image and it will turn it into a mesh that you can then import. And it's kind of cool. It's not perfect. There are definitely issues, and you'll get these weird points in the middle of nowhere and stuff. But to get you started, to get a little something going, and with people with better skills than I have, then I think you'll find it's and necessarily if Mesh you can do it. I'm sure there's other ones that can as well. But I think Blender's programmed with Python too, so of course it would have access to all those as well. Unas, the creature in Atlantis. Oh my God, look at that with the horn. Look at you, Bill the Scotsman. It all comes flooding back. Look at me. What a terrible nerd I am. Yeah, Daleks. Exactly. Them Daleks, that's it, right? Any chance we will soon see you working with your sister in the new season? Oh, wouldn't that be fun? That would be fun. Someone asked me who the who the funniest person I'd ever worked with was, and I said Kate because it's true. Kate's like just one of the funniest women I've ever met, and people I've ever met. Yeah, Python. Oh, I love Python too. Was it? See, you would know. Ooh, and Unreal is amazing too. I've played with Unreal as well. Yeah. All right, get out of here. I love you. Thank you. I truly don't know why you enjoyed this, but I very much enjoy it, and I thank you for joining me for it because it makes for a lovely day for me. And I now I'll go have a shower and maybe look a little alive. Hoping to be back at this tomorrow before my I'm with Stargate Genius with Thomas from Plato. So please, yes, join us for that, and do go check out techbandits.org, will you? That would be amazing because it's got a bunch of stuff there. There's newsletters. There's that's the email of awesomeness. There's a bunch of stuff, Tech Bandit stuff I've been doing. I've been invited to it's like the downtown community center for the Christmas. Well, to basically provide the pancake printer for their Christmas party. So they're doing like a kids open house Christmas party thing. I guess it's not Christmas, probably a winter festival party or whatever it is. The last, I guess, couple of years I've helped out and brought the 3D, it's not a 3D printer, but it's the pancake bot, and it prints pancakes, sometimes successfully even. And I was looking, I really wanted to do some like chocolate printing. I thought that'd be a really cool thing to get people into, but man, they're expensive. They're like over $1,000 for the chocolate printer, and then you'd need special sort of tubes of chocolate to put into it. So I think that's probably not the way to go. I was really hoping there'd be like some kind of like an extruder, so you could replace the Prusa extruder and replace that with some kind of a chocolate extruder or a paste extruder, or maybe even a pellet extruder. So maybe you could just throw chocolate pellets in and then it could melt out. Obviously, want to be safe. Don't want to be feeding underprivileged kids plastic in their chocolate. So I'd want to get it right. But I just thought it's kind of fun to show. It's those kind of technologies that I think are kind of fascinating to people. It's interesting though. Maybe I've got a few little robot things. I could bring those and see if that's the way to go. That's what I'll use. I'll send you the info, but it's really easy to hook it up at least to an Ender. What's this? Did you get one? I'm trying to scroll down. Elizabeth, you found a chocolate printer? Tempered chocolate is also hinky to work with and temperamental. Yeah, I'm sure. You will know tomorrow, LOL. There is no certainty with David. It's true. It's very true, Ivan. My schedule is terrible. The Lucky Bot. Is it expensive? The Lucky Bot. Okay, well, I'll check that out. Lucky Bot. Thank you, Elizabeth, as always. And again, I apologize if I didn't mean to offend. You triggered a thought, not an emotion, if that makes sense. It was something. You brought up a topic that I'd wanted to address anyway. So, $100. That's it. Sweet. I know what I'm getting for Christmas before Christmas, so that I could do the Christmas party with it. And it'll print chocolate. Do I need special chocolate for it? Well, Prusa. Prusa? What do you mean? It's a Prusa. Whatever. I know. I'm probably not saying with the right check thing. Doctor Who spinoff. Ooh, what's this? What? The Land and the Sea, out next month in the UK and next year in the US. 5-part story. Cool. I'll whack the results in Discord. I will email you with the info and some tips. Fantastic. Thank you very much. That's what I mean. There's a $1,400. Whoa. There's a $1,400 Chinese humanoid bot. So not chocolate. No, it's not chocolate, but man, that is really cool. There was a Waterloo startup that was doing chocolate printing. What? Waterloo's around the corner. I think the instructions are in Chinese though. That's fine. I'm sure we can figure it out. Okay, so I'll look up the Lucky Bot and I'll look up a Waterloo Urban Images. If you find that, if anyone's got any information on the chocolate printing, please do me a favor, like put chocolate in the subject heading and email me at davidihewlett@gmail.com. I don't promise to get back to everyone because especially right now with the new Stargate coming out, there's just been an awful lot of communication, shall we say. All right, I'm out of here. I better go. Stargate was fun. Oh my God. You thought it was fun? I had even more fun making it. I'm just saying. It would be fun to go back on that, wouldn't it? Oh God, that'd be really fun. Anyways, all right. I got to drink coffee, shower, take my poor dog out in this miserable weather, which I was sort of hoping would get a little nicer, but it hasn't. So until we geek again, which will be tomorrow when we're talking to Thomas about Plato and exploring new Earths. Make sure you join me for that. Although I may even I might try to sneak another Burn and Learn in there before. Good God. Madness, how much I can get done or not get done in a day. So until we geek again, I would say be brave, be kind, be brilliant. Cheerio, huzzah, and thank you. This has been another pleasure. Really appreciate it. Cheers.